Hey, welcome to this episode of Scrapyard Choppers. I'm Ronnie Danger. Today we're going to be talking about my 84 Chevette. We're going to go over everything that gets it to this point where it was doing a burnout the other day. And also we're going to go over the damage right there and show you how close I was actually killing some tires. I'm going to toss it back to myself in an older video. I'm going to show you where I got all the parts to get this car going. So here's the parts. That's right. I bought a parts car. This was a street car, street drag car. It had 1,000 horsepower twin turbo LS in it. The guy was street racing, and well, it didn't go very well for him. But it didn't get in the roll cage. The roll cage has got some scratches right there, but the roof didn't really touch it. So we're gonna cut this roll cage out. It is going in the other car. This is S10 setup. A little hard to see. I'll show you more, but you can see the slotted and drilled rotors. S10 brakes, Chevy bolt pattern. That's really nice. That's the stuff I really wanted. This guy already figured out how to do it, seen some other YouTube videos, got this kit all together. So I get started pulling everything apart. I decided to just take the spindle off. I was originally gonna pull the whole subframe out of that car. The bolts were not coming loose. So we're just pulling the spindle. Does that bottom not have a cotter pin in it? Safe. 1,000 horsepower. Twin turbo LS motor, and let's put a cotter pin in the bottom one. Nope, there's no cotter pin in that one. Perfect. This is a pickle fork. This one's spread apart a little too far. Hang on, let me fix it. All right. Now this is gonna wedge between them and spread them apart, hopefully. Wow, that's a very strong spring. Huh. Well, I think we can let the jack down now. Almost rolled the car again. This thing fought, kicking and screaming. So let's check it out. Got an S10 brake caliper. Really nice setup with the hose. I know there's probably a bunch of Chevette people wondering how he did this. And I'll try to find the video, but there's a video that links all the different bearing sizes and sets you got to use to do this. I know you got a machine apart to go over the end here. That goes over some of the threads. You got to cut the castle nut down. There's a lot of work involved to put these S10 brakes on the stock Chevette spindle. It's doable though. This guy did it. And you know, I think anyone could do it. It is 5 lug converted now. All I did was put the spindles from the other Chevette onto this Chevette. 3-way adjustable drag shocks on here. These are Chrysler. I think they're off a Dart or something. But yeah, I also put upper and lower ball joints in this. I didn't change the tie rods because it's really solid. Nothing wrong with the tie rod. I actually didn't even want to change upper and lower ball joints because parts nowadays just aren't very good anymore. And keeping the stock stuff as long as possible is always great. Everything felt really tight. The problem was almost all of the rubber bushings, or whatever you want to call them, the rubber piece that held the grease in, they're all ripped. So at that point, they're going to go eventually. And I'd rather just change it for safety instead of being 130 miles an hour losing a ball joint or something stupid. Also, in case you're wondering, if you're trying to do your own swap like this, yes, I'm using the stock master. All right, with the front brakes done, let's move on to the motor. Now, there's a big problem with this motor, and it involves my old race car. Videoed here. See, we had put a mid plate in that car, a really thick mid plate, and apparently LS motors don't like it, so it broke as you see it. We ended up grinding it out with a die grinder, getting it nice and cleaned up, and then we're gonna heat it up to about 400 degrees, I believe it was, and that is the proper temperature to weld cast iron. We're gonna weld that cast iron with some nickel rod The rod I got was not very good, and the block had a lot of rust in it. So the weld kind of is what it is. Honestly, it's held up pretty good. Haven't had any issues with that repair at all. So now we got to set about putting that motor in this car. I got some motor mounts off of Amazon. They're pretty good motor mounts. I've seen a lot of good reviews on them. This car had a small block Chevy in it when I bought it. They pulled the motor out, so it was very easy to put this LS motor in. The first time and the second time. Now getting that motor in, easy. Came right back out because we had to put it in my hearse because the big block I was building for my hearse, well, it didn't go so well. So pull it back out, put it in the hearse. Here's the last test drive on the hearse. So after that test drive, I had a very nice conversation with a very gentlemanly cop who's a big hearse fan. He's like, man, that thing moves for being a hearse. We started talking about the motor, all this stuff. We were sitting here at the end of the driveway getting ready to pull back in, or I mean Mexico. And he's like, yeah, I was sitting down in the corner and I seen you take back off going the other way because I turned around and come back this way and kind of got on it. And he's like, everyone looked at me and was like, you gonna do something about it? So he drove down here and just had a really nice conversation. Turns out he wanted to buy a hearse. He's been looking at him for a really long time. His mom talked him out of buying one when he was a kid. I was like, better get on them soon. They're going up in price. But I digress. So, get ahead of myself with this motor business. Gonna pull the motor out of the hearse, put it in the Chevette. But before I could actually do that, we had to get the roll cage done. Now, we're heading into crunch time at this point. It's like the beginning of April, and this thing had to be done at the end of May. So, I cut the roll cage out of that other car I showed you earlier, and it turned out that he had butt welded it together and didn't sleeve it. So the first thing I had to do was cut it down to where I wanted it to be in this car. I had to knock holes in each end of it and sleeve it and weld it all back together. So now I finished fully welding it all the way around. I do a little measuring, make sure it's right, get that bar in the center how I like it, which is funny because it's pretty much I cut that bar out a little while later and end up welding in a straight bar that goes across because that bar was too far back from the seat. As you notice in the video, I like curved back and then went around and came back this way. It was way too far. I end up with this straight bar. Because it's funny, because you see me painting it right now and then cut it back apart. I painted it before I put it in because it's hard to paint roll cages inside the car. Well, I scratched the heck out of it because I dropped the dang thing like 3 times. So I ended up painting it in the car anyways. So kind of a waste of time. While the paint was drying, I welded some plates to the floor because in a unibody car there's no frame. So you got to weld plate on top of the unibody part, unibody frame part. I don't know what you call it. But that helps when the roll cage, or that helps so if you do roll, the roll cage doesn't punch through the floor, basically. And then after I get that all the way around, I throw in the back bars down to the back of the car and we weld it all up and the roll cage is in the car. Totally unnecessary for the burnout contest, but I really wanted to get this car to the point where I know I could drive it down the road and we can go drag racing with it and it's halfway safe. So after the roll cage is done, we move on to this transmission tunnel. Now, when I got this, the guy had this part cut out for some kind of shifter. So I ended up taking part of what he had cut out and I grafted it in down here. I made this piece here, made a paper template, and then cut it out of steel. Kind of want to put some shape into this. So we're gonna come over here to our English wheel. That is going to work. And welded it on here. After that, we added extensions all the way around. Welded some nuts on the inside piece that was still there and bolted it all together. So this is completely removable. Absolutely the best thing you could ever do inside a race car is make a completely removable trans tunnel. There's just no reason not to. If you already got fabricated floors like this car has, this is a must. Number one priority, removable trans tunnel. All right, one thing about when I built this trans tunnel, I had to make my throttle pedal at the same time because it goes to the original part right here. It's just a piece of steel that comes out. It's super strong, got a hole cut in it, and this pedal goes through it and the arm goes up and down. It took a little bit to figure it out. You know, I just sit here, feet there, you know, that kind of stuff. Now, after that was done, it was time to put the motor back in for the last time, thankfully, and then hook everything up and to get us to this point, and then take it for a test drive. But let me show you around this car a little bit more before I show you the little bit of a test drive we get. We're gonna start by going underneath this beast. So, underneath this car, it's fully fabricated floor. These are subframe connectors that go all the way back into there, which is the original subframe, and then back to that control arm. And it goes up into here, into these boxes, up into here, into these boxes. And then there's got, we got a really nice cross member for the seats. Seats bolt through the floor into this. And then that's hooked to the drive shaft loop. I had to lengthen that drive shaft. I cut it in half, took another piece of drive shaft, slid it over top of it. And then I put it back in here and I put like a zip tie on this and then spun it around and watched the gap between the zip tie and that. Tapped on it with a hammer till it was straight. Worked good for a Burnout. Gonna have to get a new one when I go driving this thing down the road. I do like this cross member, but I do wish part of it was permanent because like this bar is only bolted in 2 spots, side to side. It's really, besides the seat cross member, it's the only cross member all the way back to there. I just don't know if that's good or bad or what, or if this being the way it is because it's bolted and it's crossed, this might be good enough. I don't know. It might be something I have to have looked at. So Turbo 400, full manual valve body, fully built trans. Now we come back here. That's an 8.8 373 gears in posi. This is the line that came with the tank. I had to make this line. I didn't make it long enough. I'm gonna redo this. This is -6, I think, or -8, and I need to go to -6. I can't remember the numbers. But this car has 1/2-inch fuel line running through it. And I usually use 3/8 for all my stuff, and this is smaller. So it starts off smaller, gets bigger, then gets bigger. I'd like to just go all one size eventually. Now, putting this fuel pump in was a lot of decision making because the gas tank is basically at the back of the car. I ended up going with it over here. I was afraid of the tire coming apart and hitting it. So I made this really thick piece of plate to go right here. I actually ran out of wire when I was welding it. Kind of is what it is for now until I get some more welding wire. It's a really thick piece of steel. It held up so far. Now we come up here. This is the on-off switch we had built. This is supposed to go on the back of the car. We took it inside, drilled a hole in it. That's on, that's off. That's on, and that's off. We got our battery box right here, some angle iron down there welded, and then these are welded to the angle iron. And then this is bolted down. This battery is not going anywhere. We got our gas tank. It's temporarily held in with some bungee cords. What a pain in the butt. Ugh. So I have some sliders for it. It clamps it around the top. And then when you go to put gas in it, you just push it right here and slide it back. And then you can put gas in it and get my vet ran out from there, which this needs to go somewhere else. This is temporary, just had to get it done. But you gotta have something like this in this car because there's nothing between the gas tank and you. So you gotta put something there. I welded in these sides all the way around. I had to weld these to each other. Those turned out good. Everything that's welded to this, to the car, was a pain in the ass because this is a little thicker in the car metal. Welding thick to thin is never fun, but it worked. And we painted everything up front. I know there's a bit of a mess. That's all bed undercoating, and back here is just some semi-gloss black, just to make it look nice. Yeah, that's that bed lining. The Duplicolor bed liner is better than the Rust-Oleum bed liner. That's all I gotta say. Got our gauges. Just got a water temp and oil pressure. Got our shifter in. Just a B&M ratchet shifter. Just zip screwed for now. We're gonna put some nuts and bolts on that and then do something different with our switches. Got a fan and a fuel pump. So there's a lot more work to do. It's coming up in a few episodes. So after that was all done, I sanded and shot this car black. I also painted the engine compartment, which was not part of the plan. When I washed the engine compartment, all the paint came off. That was awesome. So I ended up painting the whole car black. I originally wanted blue, but I'm glad I went with the black because I had it and it was free. And then I had a friend come in. Her name is Lexi. I'm gonna link her Instagram down below. If you ever want something painted, something wild like this, she is your girl, because this is wild. I really like how it turned out. She did a great job. I really like this back part especially. I didn't film it because I was under the gun. We were like 3 days before Cletus and Cars, and this car was not done or close to being done. Same thing she did across the back. I really like this too. I like everything about this car, the way she painted it. So the deal with this paint job is it's going to be an ever-changing paint job for a little while until we do like a bunch of body work and make it nice. Yo, nice. Next, we're gonna have another artist paint it, then another artist, just to keep you on your toes. Now the damage from Cletus and Cars, we hit the wall, we bent the bumper right there and bented this in and broke this. We pulled this out already. It's actually pretty good. We just got a bunch of creases through here and it's double walled right there. So it's gonna be hard to do. My cousin just got to it. I wasn't filming him because he just got to working and it just kind of happened. I can get better about that stuff. But I'm gonna work on this a little bit more and see if I can pull it out. This needs to go back. This needs to come forward. It really didn't get into the inner structure. This is damage from when we were trying to pull everything back around. The bumper shock went in and out. Gonna put the bezel back in. I'm gonna glue it back to those. Put the headlight back in. It's really not that bad at all. I barely touched the wall. My issue was my too small of steering wheel. Yeah, that guy. Too small. First time driving, it's got a manual gearbox or a manual steering box in it. I'm gonna run a bigger steering wheel in the future. Hopefully that helps. I did manage to get that tire off, which everyone missed. I think they were all just kind of wondering. It seemed like everybody was just taken aback by the car and no one noticed that I actually got that tire off. And this tire, wow, is actually about to blow. It's a little hard to see because it's dirty, but that's the inner structure right there. Another couple seconds and this one was done. Probably not mess with that too much. So future plans for the car, we're gonna get it street legal. I've got a couple sets of headers to put on this, long tubes to go underneath, do a little exhaust. I've been looking for tires, 15-inch Krager rims. Have been really hard to find, and you can't find drag radials in a 14-inch rim. No one makes them anymore. I got a road race tire I can use if I can't find any 15-inch Kragers. Here's the night from the test drive. We did a little test burnout. This was 9:30 at night, and I didn't have everything loaded in the van and on the trailer, and I had to work on the van and do an oil change and some brakes until I was done with that about 1:30. I got home, took a shower, went to bed. We were up before 7 and hit the road.
Yep.
All right, first test drive, first update in many days because I literally have been doing nothing but working on this. And unfortunately, I didn't have much time to film, but it runs. Let's do a test burnout and make sure both tires spin and nothing's gonna break right away that we can just fix here. Idle. Out of idle. Well, this thing's gonna be a handful, and hopefully the cops aren't on the way here because, yeah, that was loud. It that different gear in it, man, it made that motor come alive. It's like this thing. It's gonna be a handful to drag race, that's for sure. It's gonna be fast. All right, let's get this thing loaded before the cops show up. Thanks for watching this episode of Scrapyard Choppers. I'm Ronnie Danger. If you want a Chevette shirt, down below. We have Chevette shirts. They come with Chevette stickers. They're a vet shirt. They're pretty cool. You should definitely go check it out. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.